Fabulous follow on Twitter, and we follow his tweets, and then he will explain some of them live here. All of these, I'm told, come from last night's game. So here we go. Tweet number 1. Baker is sharp as a deacon from the greater missionary, fresh off the evangelistic rock of Mount Pilgrim, Methodist Pentecostal breath of the Seventh Son Baptist Holy of the Holies Church to start. Could be good for his church members. Ryan Clark, explain that tweet.
Hey, look, Greeny, I'm from the South, man, and I grew up in Southern Baptist churches, and you always knew the one deacon that had the 5-piece suit on with the 6 buttons and the alligator shoes was the sharpest dude, and he was going to pass around the collection plate. Well, that's what Baker Mayfield was doing at the start of the game. He was passing around the collection plate. His first five passes went to 5 different people, and it finished off with the bomb to Odell Beckham Jr. Kevin Stefanski did exactly what you needed to do. He came in, he wrote a great sermon, and then Deacon Baker Mayfield passed around the collection plate, and they said, we will take the money that jingles, but we rather the type that folds. Please dig into your pockets and give from your heart.
Okay, very good. Next one. OBJ with the doo-doo man New Jack City stutter, and Baker dropped this ball in like Salt Bay. This is what the 6,000 Browns fans came out to see. RC, explain that tweet. What's that?
Greeny, you did not just disrespect the Dudda man like that. It's the Dudda man.
It's the Dudda man.
Because he stuttered. It's not like duh. I cannot believe you. Listen, the Dudda man was the muscle, right? He was the muscle for New Jack City, for G Money, for Nino Brown. And then you saw Odell Beckham Jr. hit old boy with the stutter, get down the sideline, catch the bomb. But then Baker Mayfield dropping the ball in like Salt Bay, giving you everything that you ever needed. He couldn't drop that ball. There was a drop on 4th and 2 last week. Baker Mayfield placed it in Odell Beckham Jr.'s hand, and we finally got to see what we all signed up for. I was excited for the both of them.
Yes, that's what I thought it was. I was just confirming. Here's the best one. Say, y'all, can we redshirt Joe until the Bengals get an O-line? RC, I don't think that one needs a lot of explanation, but what are your thoughts?
Greeny, it needs a lot of explanation. Joe is ours, right? Joe is like our little brother, and he comes off of the greatest college football season that we've ever seen, leading a true pack of tigers, a true pack of hunters, and now y'all put him with these baby cubs in Cincinnati. Those aren't real tigers. They aren't roaring. Those tigers are asking for help. And here you have this monster tiger, Joe Burrow, coming in, #1 overall pick, and you are gonna get him killed. So all I'm asking is, can we just take a year or 2 or 3 for the Bengals to figure out how to protect this man before we lose him? He is not only a Louisiana treasure, but a national treasure, and I refuse to let Cincinnati ruin him.
Outstanding work. Ryan Clark explaining his tweets. Meanwhile, as we look ahead to the weekend, let's do a little either or. McAfee, starting with you. Deshaun Watson or the Ravens defense, who you got?
I like the Ravens defense. They bring a lot of pressure, and Deshaun Watson has not done great against the pressure. I think losing Nuke is a big deal. David Johnson had a breakout game once again on Thursday night game, but I like that Ravens defense a lot. They're hungry. They complement Lamar Jackson very, very well in that offense. I like the Ravens over Deshaun Watson.
Next, RC. How about them Cowboys taking on the Falcons? Who should their offense run through, Dak or Zeke?
Able to run the ball, didn't necessarily get the big plays you wanted in the run game, but also caught a touchdown for the Dallas Cowboys. In the second half, when they were relying on Dak Prescott and those wide receivers to pick up first downs, they were inept. They couldn't do it. And then you look at a 4th and 3 in the red zone of the Rams when they should have kicked it, and the CD Lamb gets stopped. Start with Ezekiel Elliott, end with Ezekiel Elliott, let Dak play off of him.
Okay, I agree with you, but you know what you're going to do here? You are going to get your buddy Dominique Foxworth mad. He disagrees, and he said this on this show yesterday about the Cowboys.
Kansas City plays aggressively. They play like they have an all-star or Pro Bowl level quarterback. And I feel like the play calling and the play design in Dallas, it treats Dak Prescott as if he's not a Pro Bowl level quarterback, as if he's some sort of game manager. They treat that offense as if those players are not as good as they are. I think they should put more complicated schemes in and take more shots and let Dak Prescott win or lose them the game.
And it was a really good conversation that ensued from that. But basically, the point he was making in larger terms was you spend all your money on offense, you spend all these assets on offense. Now you're paying the quarterback like he's a star, even though it's on the franchise tag. Do they need to open up the offense and be more aggressive? RC, you look skeptical.
Well, I'm skeptical about the comparison. He compared Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott. Not the same thing, right? When one person has a Lamborghini and the other person has a Honda Pilot, you don't let those two teams race, nor do you have the same pit crews. And so that's the one thing.
Dak
Now,
Prescott's
the
a
other piece
Honda
of it is,
Pilot? You just said, RC?
listen, it was my favorite car when I played. I got a Honda Pilot from doing some promotion and I loved it. I drove it to the game every Sunday. It was extremely reliable, it was safe, and it could get you to point A to B eventually. Maybe not fast, but eventually. And that's who Dak Prescott is. He's reliable, he's safe, and he will get you from point A to B eventually. Patrick Mahomes, on the other hand, will get you point A to B right now, and that's the reason that Andy Reid coaches that way. But when you make that comparison, I want you to think of this. Think back to last Thursday. Who was the star for the Kansas City Chiefs? Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You know why? Because they had to put people on the outside to stop the passing game, and Andy Reid made the smart decision to go with the best option, not necessarily the best player. The best option for this team right now with those three wide receivers is Ezekiel Elliott, and you get to the pass game off of that. These two things are not the same. But one thing that is true, if you go with what's best, if you go away from where the defense is leaning, you can win. And that's what the Cowboys have to do, not force feed Dak Prescott so you can make up or make yourself feel better for putting him on the franchise tag and paying him $31 million.
Well, McAfee, let me put the question to you this way, because this is a huge topic on this show all the time. In your mind, is Dak Prescott a quarterback you can win with, or is he the kind of quarterback you win because of? That, I feel, is the line of delineation we're talking about here.
I don't think he's a Honda Pilot. I mean, that was quite a shot at Dak Prescott. I mean, what RC did, I understand it's got good miles per gallon.
It's so reliable.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But, I mean, that was quite a shot to not even put him in like a foreign car, like you get it. That was just a bad comparison. But for me, I think the bad comparison relies from Dominique there in the Cowboys and the Chiefs, the way their teams are built. I mean, the Chiefs just have all those weapons. But if you even look at them on Thursday night, they started feeding CEH. I mean, that was what they were doing. I think that's what their offense is going to look like this year as well. I think it's going to be a lot of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think they know that the run game opens up the pass game. They got Tyreek Hill, McCole Hardman, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce. I mean, they have a litany of speed and talent. So comparing Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott and the way the Chiefs offense operates and the way the Cowboys offense operates is just two very different things. And Mike McCarthy is a quarterback whisperer. Dak Prescott is going to a focal point of that offense. But if you have Ezekiel Elliott, your best player on offense, and he's already been paid a lot of money just a year ago after skipping training camp and going down to Mexico and having a good time, and he's getting tattoos on his gut saying, feed me more, and he proves why you should feed him more every single time he gets the rock, I think that offense goes through number 21 in the backfield. I think Dak will like that as well because he'll be able to open up everybody else. But the comparison of the Cowboys and the Chiefs is just not a good one, not because one's a Honda Pilot and one's a Lamborghini, but because the rosters are just two very different places. And I think that's what we think.
I'm not 100% sure I agree with that. Let's live in a world where you took those three receivers and Zeke that are on the Cowboys and you gave them Patrick Mahomes. Are you telling me that offense would be less explosive than the one that the Kansas City Chiefs have? You're talking about Gallup and Amari and the kid CeeDee Lamb and Zeke Elliott. RC, do you follow where I'm going with this? I mean, to me, the difference is the way they call the game and who the quarterback is.
I 100% agree with you. If you gave Patrick Mahomes those list of skill players, the Kansas City Chiefs would still be extremely explosive. And then if you look past Tyreek Hill, whether it's Robinson, Mecole Hardman, or Sammy Watkins at this point, these aren't necessarily guys that you would take before the 3 wide receivers on the Dallas Cowboys. And definitely the running back at least has proven that he's one of the top in the league in Ezekiel Elliott. So to me, this is about the quarterback. To me, this is about play calling. But we can't get caught up in the fact that the Dallas Cowboys aren't explosive or they didn't make plays down the field in 1 week. The Dallas Cowboys called this game like it was supposed to be called. It wasn't executed in the way that it was supposed to be executed. We're always asking for all of these other reasons to make Dak Prescott something that he hasn't been. Patrick Mahomes stepped in and was Patrick Mahomes. It was no other reason. Alex Smith had gone away. It was the same coach, the same weapons. You changed one thing. And Andy Reid, who has been one of the greatest coaches for the last 2 decades, finally wins a championship. That one thing was the quarterback. You switch these guys, it's not the same in the same places.
Go ahead, McAfee.
Well, just saying that Tyreek Hill would not be selected over the 3 wide receivers for the Dallas Cowboys was one of the most asinine things.
You didn't listen to what I said.
No, that's not what he said.
I said Tyreek Hill. I didn't put Tyreek Hill in there. I said other than Tyreek Hill, when you talk about the rest of the guys on that list, they're not over the Dallas Cowboys. I don't say stupid things to say stupid things.
The difference is
well,
the
I agree.
quarterback.
You don't normally. That's why I was absolutely shocked. But Tyreek Hill is the difference between the Patrick Mahomes-led offense and the Dak Prescott-led offense and the Cowboys. Tyreek Hill is just a guy that opens up the entire field. And for the entire first half game on Thursday, he was just used as a distraction, which opens up everything else. If Dak Prescott had Tyreek Hill as a weapon outside, I would say, hey, put that thing in Dak's hand every single time. Let him throw 61 times like Joey Burrow. But he's not on that team. I think you feed Zeke until you can't feed Zeke no more.
All right, we'll leave it there for the moment. We'll come back with much more football as we go. But right now, let me get up and go around the rest of the news of a busy sports day, and it includes the Padres and Mariners forced to move their series this weekend from Seattle to San Diego because of air quality issues in Washington State. The Padres could be in position to clinch their first playoff berth since 2006. Meanwhile, U.S. Open champion Naomi Osaka will miss the upcoming French Open. She said in a tweet, quote, "My hamstring is still sore, so I won't have enough time to prepare for the clay. These 2 tournaments came too close together for me this time." Elsewhere, Ohio State cornerback Shaun Wade announced on SportsCenter yesterday he will be opting back into the college football season and playing for Ohio State. He's listed as the number 7 prospect on Mel's big board. And we've got college football coming your way tomorrow night. De'Ara King leading the number 17 Hurricanes into Louisville to take on the number 18 Cardinals. It's 7:30 Eastern on ABC and the ESPN app. It's Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One. Coming up after a dominant Monday night, should Ryan Clark's Steelers be mentioned in the same breath as the Chiefs and the Ravens? The answer is next. This is Get Up on ESPN.